Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome again to participants to this webinar happening today in the context of the eTwinning Weeks campaign, which is an eTwinning campaign who ran from the 25th of September until the 20th and will run until the 20th of October. It is hosted in the European School Education Platform in the annual group Innovation and Education and Creativity at School. The campaign, for the ones who are not familiar yet with the contents, is focused on our current annual theme, innovation and education, and it's also a bridge with the upcoming annual theme, well-being at school. Indeed, the webinar of today is actually a focus on well-being. We have the pleasure of having with us two guest speakers. We have Daniela Bunea, who is a teacher of English as a foreign language and a class teacher at a secondary school in Sibiu, Romania, and moderator of the eTwinning feature group Wellbeing at School. And we have Carol Barriuso, teacher in Barcelona, Spain, and moderator of the eTwinning feature group Integrating Migrants and Refugees at School. The webinar of today, as I was saying, is focused on well-being, and especially on the connection with the use of the five senses in the classroom. Together with our speakers, we will discover engaging ways of incorporating the five senses into our classrooms and projects, and we'll discover activities, tasks, and games that will inspire students and teachers to live in the learning moments and experience each school day using their five senses. One last technical detail before leaving the floor to our speakers. If you have any questions or curiosities or comments during the webinar, please don't be shy and feel free to type it in the chat. We will try to collect the questions, and if there's time at the end of the webinar, to try to address them. Without further ado, I will now leave the speakers to the floor, sorry, to our speakers, and I will also copy paste the link to our eTwinning annual theme in the chat, so you can, in the meanwhile, also give a look at the materials. Thank you and have a nice webinar. I will now also upload the presentation of our speakers.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this webinar held on World Smile Day, because today is World Smile Day. It is a good, appropriate, suitable day for learning and sharing and caring, you know. I hope you had a good day yesterday too, because yesterday I hope you celebrated World Teachers Day. The contribution that teachers make across the globe is remarkable. And yes, we are the ones who are often anonymous, often unsung, but we are contributing to shaping the future. And so I would like to start with a huge thank you to each and every one of us teachers who, against all odds, I might say, especially nowadays, continue to inspire and to challenge our students to unlock their possibilities, all their possibilities. Let's begin with a little exercise, if you want. I would like you to try to recall a fabulous food that you ate. What did it taste like? What did it smell like? Where were you? Who were you with? What were you talking about? I'm certain you are able to retrieve a vivid memory. Our senses help us retain and remember information. If you are so kind and write in the chat, and Carol will follow the chat, and maybe if you are brave enough to share with us, we will know about it. So, a fabulous food that you ate. What did it taste like? What did it smell like? If you were with somebody, who were you with? Maybe you were talking about something. What were you talking about? Don't be shy. Can you? Are you able to retrieve a memory? Usually, we are able to think about the past. We experience the past using our senses, and at some point now we can think about the past, and thus we have connection with it. A connection that will at some point go into the future as well, because at some point the now will become ago, or a long time ago even. In an imaginary timeline, we can have memories like in the past, we have the right now moment, and we have the future.
There are a couple of them already from Ingrid. Ingrid, she says rabbit stew, a Maltese recipe that it tasted divine, and she was with family. Then we have Elenia that she still remembered the most fabulous cake she ate about 10 years ago. So it should be an amazing one. What else? We have Loredana Popa. She's sharing that she had a wonderful vegan stew in Madrid with some eTwinning ambassadors, by the way. And we also have some kinds of fish with cousins of friends from Aise. I don't know if I'm pronouncing well this name, Stefania Angela. She says, I was just a baby visiting Siena and I asked for a glass of strawberries with ice cream.
Oh.
Simple but amazing. And then Evdokia, she says, my mama's moussaka, so I suppose that's the best. I would like to add something. When I still remember sometimes when I had my own ice lollies. And the thing is, I remember the moment, but I remember the taste. The taste comes into my mouth when I think about them.
This is something that happens to all of us. It happened to people more important than us.
Yeah.
Can you recognize this person? Do you recognize him? It's a French novelist. I think you recognize Marcel Proust. Here he is tasting his cookies soaked in tea. This is perhaps the most famous illustration of an intense memory sparked by the senses. But each of the five senses has the power to evoke lost time. As I said, our senses link us to the past. In the moment, they tie us down to the present, and they help us create memories for the future. They even help us call forth memories we have forgotten we possess. In our classrooms, the five senses can indeed play a crucial role in keeping us aware of our surroundings. Our minds constantly try to make sense of the information our senses provide, especially in relation to our overall well-being. And this is done at any age. But understanding at school through educational activities and tasks carefully selected, how understanding how each of our senses contributes to our well-being can help us all, students and teachers alike, better connect with the world around us. This benefits students enormously. They are, no matter their age, still just beginning to explore and understand the big world, the big wide world around them. Okay, the five senses. Which are the five senses? We all know. To the left, I have a very nice picture. To the right, their names. These are the five basic senses: smell, sight, taste, sound, touch. What exactly do they influence? What is their power? Because they do have a power each. And also, towards the end, okay, are they only five? Really? Recognizing how our senses affect our mood can encourage us to reflect on our own interpretation of sensory experiences. And identifying our favorite smells, sights, tastes, sounds, and touches can help us respond healthily, in a healthy way, when feeling stressed or when feeling anxious. By understanding and using our senses, we can alleviate stress and we can enhance our overall well-being. So these are the 5 basic senses. They are also called the Aristotelian senses. 2 of them are the social senses, seeing and hearing. There are 3 proximity senses, touch, taste, and smell. The touch is the fundamental sense, and the taste and the smell are the senses of survival. This is a classification made by a French historian called Alain Corbin. He came up with it back in 1986, and this classification has been used by most of the researchers ever since. Very short, what does a sense mean? What do each of the senses mean? They have got, all of the senses have got their own detection system to get information from our surroundings. The information then is sent to the brain. There it is processed and combined to create a complete picture of our environment. The sense of sight. Light and color are detected by cells in the retina at the back of the eye. The sense of sound. We've got hair cells in our ears, and they move in response to specific frequencies of sound. The sense of taste. We've got taste buds on our tongues, and they react to salt. They react to sour, bitter, sweet tastes in our food. The sense of smell. There are special cells in our noses. These special cells detect different chemicals in the air that we breathe in, but we also detect the flavors in food as the air moves from our mouth up into the back of the nasal cavity. And the sense of touch. We've got various receptors in our skin. They can detect different types of touch, including pressure and vibrations. Some examples of each and every one of these senses. I'm going to start with the smell, pleasant, and their powers. This is very important. Remember, they've got powers. So pleasant aromas have the power to reduce stress and anxiety. For instance, lavender can relieve distress and can promote better sleep. And yeah, each scent has a unique impact on our mood. I started with the first one up there on the left, the smell. I will go on. Maybe you can guess from this quote by this famous American artist, Andy Warhol: nobody really looks at anything, it's too hard, which is the opposite of what I want to say, perhaps. Still, on a deeper meaning, it is exactly what I want to say. It's the sense of sight, obviously. I'm presenting the sense of sight now. Some examples. Okay, visual stimuli have got a significant influence on our emotions. Just if you think, I have written here, if you think as your workspace, if it is organized, your anxiety can be reduced. But if you have a messy workspace, it will heighten your anxiety. Obviously, bright colors uplift our mood, and dull colors lower it. And yeah, I wanted to add here, especially in the classroom, a smile from someone energizes us, because yeah, if you think about a teacher smiling at his or her students, for instance, for sure it gives them the will and the power to go on learning. The next sense, maybe you can guess it. Okay, this is a quote from the American astronomer and author Carl Sagan. Okay, Cosmos, a personal voyage, a text and a documentary. If you wish to make an apple pie from scratch, you must first invent the universe. Carl Sagan had a brilliant mind, and yeah, his writing is remarkable. For the purpose of our discussion today, you must think of the apple pie as being already made. What sense do you think am I going to talk about? So will it be smell? Will it be taste? Will it be touch? Will it be which one? Let's move on. It's the sense of taste. So the apple pie is already made. We could have also referred to the sense of taste because while it's being made, we are using the sense of smell. Okay, about the sense of taste. Eating enjoyable foods brings us pleasure and satisfaction. Conversely, consuming something we dislike can have the opposite effect and can bring us disgust and dissatisfaction. Our sense of taste has a significant impact on our mood, emotions, and behaviors. Two more senses. Okay, maybe a hint in this quote. We have already talked about the sense of sight. The quote, there is no such thing as an empty space or an empty time. There is always something to see, something to hear. So it's about the sense of sound. John Cage was an American composer and author. Let's see about its power, because we are constantly influenced by the power of sound. Loud, sudden noises can be alarming. Soft instrumental music or acoustic sounds are soothing to our ears. The choice of music during activities such as workouts can also boost our energy levels. And the last sense, the fifth, the sense of touch. For those who appreciate physical touch, its significance in mental health is well understood. Feeling the warmth of the sun or enjoying a warm shower can greatly enhance our mood. But there are more than just 5 senses, and the researchers have come up with a lot of difficult and very interesting words for these other senses. There is all some names are, there is the vestibular sense, there is the proprioception sense, there is the interoception sense. They are difficult to pronounce, first of all, and even to remember, even to pronounce them. They have to do with movement, balance, and with the sensations that come from within our bodies, and many, many other senses within our bodies. Like, for instance, for me, the most straightforward is the interoception sense, because I can imagine that it comes from the word interior, so it's within our bodies. And the examples are, for instance, when our heart is racing, or when we can say that we have butterflies in our stomach, or do I need to go to the bathroom? This is interoception. For vestibular sense and proprioception, For instance, everybody can sit, stand, run, ride a bike, walk a tightrope if they want to. For the vestibular sense, a clear sense of this is the fact that when we close our eyes, we are able to, I have read it, we are able to touch the tip of our nose with our finger. So we close our eyes and we touch the tip of our nose with our finger. These senses are not basic and they run in the background. So the five senses, the five basic senses are these. They are all directed, so the boss is the brain. The brain, well, the brain is the boss, but it lives a quiet life. It is encased in bone and it floats in some fluid. It is about 70% water. It accounts for about 2% of our body weight. Still, it gobbles up about 20% of our energy, of the energy that we consume, which is enormous. But it is our brain really that lets us accomplish extraordinary things. Like just this morning, I was going to school. I was standing in a moving bus. I was reading a sign out of the bus, out of the window of the bus that was moving. I was having a conversation with my son, and we were both eating from a bag of nuts. That's a lot of coordination. My skin, my eyes, my ears, my tongue, and my nose send their messages along the complex systems that we have in our body. But by the time that information reaches my consciousness, it is integrated in a coherent whole. My sensory faculties, considered together, gave me the experience of the world. This is my sensorium. I like this sentence that we live in five senses, really. We live in five senses as we move through the world. But let me tell you that our brain, that boss, our brain makes constant adjustments to what we perceive, because sometimes the information that we receive is incomplete. And when the information that we receive is incomplete, our brain makes an educated guess about what we have seen or heard or tasted or smelled or touched. For instance, because of the way, because I put first the picture of an eye, because of the way that the optic nerve is attached to the eyeball, we all have blind spots in our vision. But the brain typically ensures that when we look around, we don't register any gaps. The next picture is, I put it here because to explain this. There are times when one sense doesn't give us as much information as we need. And when one sense does not give us as much information as we want, we can recruit other senses to help. So for instance, here the picture is like this. If I cannot track the flight of a mosquito that is pestering me, I can listen to try to find it so that I can slap it, right? Because by listening to changes in sound, we can learn about the location and the speed of objects with our ears instead of our eyes. Another situation. There are times when one sense screams for attention. And when one sense screams for attention, the others fade back. You will agree with me. Lights dim for a concert, so then we can hear better. We close our eyes when kissing, so that we use our sense of touch the best. And okay, the last one, there are people, I'm not a driver, but I have read about this, that there are people who turn off the radio so that they can better see where they are driving. They are all part of a whole. Each and everyone contributes to the whole, and nothing can cure the soul but the senses, so that they reach my consciousness, just as nothing can cure the senses but the soul. It was Oscar Wilde who said this. We each live in our own body. I live in my own body. It was assigned to me by fate. It was also shaped by my history. My senses would show me a completely different world if I were only 12 years old, or if I were pregnant right now, or if I were a smoker, which I'm not. Yet, most of us assume that our world is the same as everybody else's. Nothing can be further from the truth. For people who have sensory processing differences, some sensations may feel overwhelming, while others barely register. For me, getting a haircut is very difficult. And to cope with this challenge, I name it challenge, to cope with it, I always keep my eyes closed during the whole experience, absolutely every single time. So yes, there are various tools and strategies that can help people manage their sensory environment. Acknowledging that people experience sensations in different ways can help us all be more understanding. So remember, there are background senses and there are foreground senses. Out of the 5 basic ones, let's see. With our foreground senses, okay, we pay attention to them, we seek new experiences, we enjoy talking, we enjoy about them, we enjoy learning about them. With our background senses, we are much less interested in them. Of the background senses that one has, we can find out which exactly is the most neglected one. And okay, there is not an app for that, but a quiz. Carol, if you are so kind and put the link in the chat, because this is the link to
It's
a
already
quiz.
sent. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This quiz is going to tell you which is your most neglected sense. I did the quiz myself and I found out that, okay, my most neglected, it's going to send you an email. My most neglected sense is smelling. So out of smelling is the sense that I least often turn to for pleasure or comfort, it says, the quiz. I don't spend time exploring it. I don't spend time cultivating it. I'm more concerned with avoiding the negatives than appreciating the positives. Luckily, there are ways to awaken my appreciation for this neglected sense so that I can have fun with my sense of smell. And I have come to awaken my neglected sense, my most neglected sense. And now I can appreciate the sense associated with the people, with the sense associated with the people I love, which is very important for me. It can also help me evoke memories. And overall, I feel more comfortable in my surroundings. I kindly advise you to do the quiz yourself. Find out which is your most neglected sense. Once you recognize your neglected sense, you can use this self-knowledge to find a new source of energy, calm, creativity. You can find fresh experiences that are likely to delight you. And perhaps most importantly, you can make opportunities to engage with people in even more meaningful ways. I would like to go on by confessing to you that I have the best job in the world, because I am a teacher, just like most of you. And most of, most of the time, sorry, most of the time I I think of myself as a happy teacher, and happy teachers teach happy students. And by teaching my happy students, I myself can be happier. Maybe you're thinking that in the midst of all the suffering and injustice that there is in the world, uh, isn't it selfish to focus on your own experience, on your own well-being, on your own happiness? Let me tell you that it is not, because happier people are interested in the problems of others and the problems of the world. Just the other day, coming back from the Twinning conference in Bratislava, I heard again the airplane reminder: put on your own oxygen mask before helping others. It is sound advice. When we care for ourselves, we strengthen ourselves so that in the next moments we can care for others. And it is the same for teachers. Happy teachers do teach happy students. Maybe you can say that these are big words, but a teacher that is well prepared and creative and happy is wholeheartedly beneficial to their students. So a very short recap, but first of all, I'm presenting you it's a painting by the Dutch painter Gerard de Lerese. It was painted a very long time ago, and it is called An Allegory of the Senses. You can see 5 people here. The senses are represented in this painting by the 5 main figures, each of whom holds or does something connected, associated with a particular sense. There have been many interpretations of this painting, but all agree that while the senses are short-lived, true love, which is symbolized by the statue of Cupid, is eternal. So the 5 senses, right? Our ears, our eyes, our nose, our tongue, our skin. I'm sure that you can give your own interpretation of this painting, and maybe you can do it like an exercise for your students, with your students. Let us start with the activities that I recommend after extensively researching all sorts of activities connected with the 5 senses. Nowadays, we are all bombarded with noise and technology, and this creates an overstimulation. And this overstimulation can interfere with learning, with sleep. It can interfere with our behavior. And sensory exploration helps with relating to our world in a mindful way. 2 simple steps are nourishing quiet time and nature meditation. Sensory exploration develops from an early age vital skills in our students. Motor skills, cognitive growth, language and social development, problem-solving skills. When we intentionally incorporate the senses into our children's learning, we are further enhancing development in their creativity, in their imagination, and we do cater for their overall well-being. There are engaging sensory activities for all ages, including painting with ice cubes, or salt tray writing, or songs, dance, throwing, catching. They enhance their abilities in thinking, processing, understanding, reasoning, problem solving. Always engage with your learners, always. Ask open-ended questions. initiate conversation, use self-talk so that they can hear you when you explore. It's vital to promote quality interaction. I will start with activities that are suitable for both students and teachers. And I will be referring to the senses that connect, well, activities using the senses that connect us with nature. And I wrote here that for the sense of sight, imagine that you are in the classroom. You, even if you just, you turn your head and you look out of the window, or maybe you look just around the classroom. Maybe you notice some birds flying high up in the sky, or you notice the way the sun hits the leaves on a potted plant. You are still in the classroom, the sense of sound. Okay, you just looked out of the window. Now you go to the window and you open it. Maybe you even go out of the classroom and you go for a walk. And you listen to the birds, or you listen to the wind in the trees, as I said. The sense of smell. Nowadays, today, there is this fresh autumn air outside everywhere. If you are still inside, so you cannot really go outside, you are still in the classroom. Plants like jasmine and silver drop eucalyptus help keep the air in the classroom fresh. Now the taste and the touch, maybe they cannot be done in the classroom. Still, they can be done. Look at what I wrote for the taste. Grow some of your own food. There are schools, not my school, unfortunately. There are schools who have got a school garden, so they can grow some of their own food. And for the sense of touch, maybe in your own backyard or at your grandparents' house in the countryside, you go outside the house and you walk barefoot and pet a dog. I wrote here for the sense of touch. More activities for students and teachers now connected to joy. You can go for a walk or a drive. You can notice the sunset or the sunrise. You can notice the majesty of the snow-capped mountains, the moving waters of rivers or oceans. You can, okay, for the sense of sound, you can create playlists with music that touches your heart or that is suitable for certain activities. For instance, music specifically targeted for the time when you are driving, and you can listen to that music. For the sense of smell, you can create a ritual around your sense of smell. For instance, light a candle with a favorite scent, or smell flowers that are pleasing to you. For the sense of taste, okay, you should identify your comfort food and you should savor it often, if possible. And for the sense of touch, hug somebody, kiss somebody, have a tickle fight with somebody, hold hands with somebody. More activities for students and teachers are put together, like in a repository, in the eTwinning group created for the eTwinning Weeks 2023. This is the link, and over here, lots of creative teachers have come together and prepared worksheets and activities and games, tasks to be done, connected to the five senses, and not only, connected mainly to the well-being. These are the ones that I'm most interested in. And I can recommend at least 4 of these activities. They are random acts of kindness challenges, where students and teachers engage in a week-long challenge of performing such acts. Nature, another activity, nature appreciation walk. This is self-explanatory. Another activity is group laughter session. Okay, this is also self-explanatory because laughter is contagious and it releases endorphins and promotes well-being. I wrote here movement breaks, which is very interesting. They are either simple stretches or dance moves. And I wanted to ask if any of you know of shuffle dance. Do you know of shuffle dance? It is a dance, okay? It is also known as Melbourne Shuffle. It's a style of dance that originated in the late 1980s in Australia. What's special about it is that it involves rapid heel and toe movements, twists and turns. And it is typically performed to electronic dance music. I have a very short dance, shuffle dance. Dance in general can have a positive impact on well-being. For example, dancing has been shown to increase feelings of happiness, reduce stress, improve self-esteem. In particular, shuffle dance can offer some unique benefits due to its energetic nature and fast-paced nature. Dancing in general is a form of exercise. It can help improve cardiovascular health, build endurance and strength, and it can also reduce the risk of chronic diseases such as obesity and diabetes. Shuffle dance also involves a significant amount of footwork, as you could see, and coordination. Remember the other senses, not the 5 basic ones. This can help improve balance, agility, motor skills. Additionally, the social impact of dancing, because this is a worldwide phenomenon, the shuffle dance, this social aspect can provide a sense of community and connection with others, which can have positive effects on mental health and well-being. There are also all sorts of activities for students of all ages in the eTwinning group dedicated to the eTwinning Weeks 2023. At least 50 of them. I counted at least 50 of them. One of them is mine. Only one of them is mine. All teachers from all across Europe contributed. Mine is called Popcorn Storytelling, and it is a game, really. This is, yeah, it's a game. Through this game, students' active listening can be encouraged. And also their ability to manage classroom noise, which is kind of important sometimes. and managing classroom noise, it does not only benefit students' academic life, but also enhances their communication, their empathy, their relationship skills. Each and every one of these activities has got detailed instructions and step-by-step procedures. For instance, for this one, I haven't put the picture here, but there are 4 main steps. Step 1, the teacher gives the student a starting sentence. Step 2, the first student adds to the story based on what the teacher has just said, and then hands it off to another student to continue. Step 3, each player takes a turn adding on to the story. And step 4, last leg, student wraps up the story. Another example was suggested by Davide Talarico, and it is called what's in the box. No, this is my box, it is called. It means that students should bring with them to school personal objects. And okay, I'm not going to tell you more about this activity. You look for it, and maybe you like it and you can use it with your students. It's suitable for primary and secondary students. I moderate the eTwinning featured group on well-being. This is the link to the group. Let me tell you that over here we have many activities going on at the moment. Some of you are already members. Thank you. If you are not already a member, you can join and see all. One day you look at something, the next day you look at something else. Maybe something catches your eye and you think, okay, this could be suitable for my context, for my students. And yeah, you give it a try. I should move on to activities for small children. Let me tell you that there are plenty of them. I found one repository really with engaging 5 senses activities kids love. Enormously interesting, because spending time examining, experimenting, and understanding the 5 senses helps small children to focus, to learn how humans take in information from the environment, to learn about the scientific method. Look, there are all sorts of tables, grids to be filled in, to connect with others and with other ideas. The one on the left is a classical scavenger hunt. It's called Head Out 4 or 5 Senses Scavenger Hunt. It's really a nature walk. This is one of the best ways to engage all 5 senses. And you should try it. Okay, it's a little small, but I'm sure you can, if you access the link, you find it, you make it bigger, and you read all the items. If you try it in different seasons, you will have a new adventure each time. The one in the middle, the worksheet in the middle, is something that caught my eye. Although I don't teach small children, it's called Solve the Case of Salt versus Sugar. The students are guided by the teacher as they try to determine. So there are 2 jars, and they try to determine which jar has got salt and which jar has got sugar in it, with the catch that the sense of taste is the last that they get to use. And the worksheet on the right, it's called Sounds and Decisions. Okay, children, the small children learn how sounds help us make decisions. It is our 5 senses that collect information, but it is our brain, remember, that helps us interpret this information and consequently make good decisions. I have 3 more. The one on the left, it's called Play a Sound Matching Game. The teacher needs to fill plastic eggs or medicine bottles with a variety of small items, and he or she asks the kids to shake them to see if they can figure out what's inside based on sound alone. The one in the middle, it's called How Different Things Feel. Because kids are asked to feel a variety, to touch and feel a variety of items, and then list the descriptive words that they could use with each. And the last one is also a classic. So I started with a classic, I'm ending for small children with a classic. It's called Mystery Boxes. This is something that lots of teachers that I know do. These are empty tissue containers which have been turned into mystery boxes. The teacher drops items into each of them and asks kids to reach in and identify what they are touching using only their sense of touch. Carol is going to present you some activities suitable for middle school students.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, well, no, my pleasure. This is my small contribution to here. So, we have to bear in mind that the challenges when children are in middle school, puberty, social pressure, the academic pressure is like they need to fit in the system as well, not just in the groups. There's self-doubt, bullying, family issues that they come with through their lives. So I've come up with some different strategies, and I'm going to share some of these activities with you. So the first one would be to help students learn how to manage their time. So there are different activities that you can do with your kids, like you could set up a what I need period before the class start, like where students can set goals or work independently or collaborate with other classmates. You can also use a timer to help students, to stay focused on task and manage their time effectively. Other strategies, other activities that you could try with your students would be to encourage them to use a planner, a calendar, so they can keep track of assignments and deadlines, and also to teach them how to prioritize tasks and break down them into smaller steps, like they can get to finish them. Another of the strategies is using academic conversations in order to boost the students' social skills. So you could set up like some stations where students can discuss, for instance, math problems or science problems, and then they can practice this talking with peers. It is very important in this type of activities to provide with a word bank and a sentence started at each station. So you make sure that students that may have an individualized education program or those who are struggling, they can connect with their classmates. So you need to provide this for these students. And it's also very useful to use role-playing activities because it's another way to help them practice effective communication skills. In terms of normalizing needing and asking for support, I'm afraid it comes from us, for us teachers. We set up models, right? So we need to set up this help-seeking behavior model for them. Like say things in the class, like when they ask things, I don't know the answer, but I'm going to find out by using my strategies or whatever. So you we don't know everything, so it's good for them to see that it's okay not to know everything. You can also give your students multiple ways to ask for helps, such as using this, I don't know, yellow and blue sticky notes, and they can put them on the table. They're indicating whether they are struggling or they are doing okay, so you as a teacher know where to go or not. You could even prepare a help desk or a question box where students could just anonymously ask for help or clarification that then you could give in the class. And it's also very useful peer tutoring or peer mentoring to encourage students to help one another. In terms of helping students develop an identity as someone who matters, um, this is an activity that I really like. You could ask students to consider what they can say to themselves when they're feeling low. So what I do with my students is they write it somewhere, and then when they feel low, they can go themselves and see the power of their own words. Super great. Then you can also encourage them to set personal goals, to celebrate their achievements, use positive affirmations. This is something I'm used, we all do, but positive affirmations and even mantras help students develop a positive self-image, and also teachers. It's also useful for us. In terms of creating encouragement boards or calm down boards, you can have them write encouraging notes to themselves, also to others, maybe in sticky notes, and post them on an encouragement bulletin board. Like, okay, this is like what I say to myself. So I encourage myself, and I can encourage others as well. Use visual reminders to help them practice this positive set talk and manage their emotions. It's okay to have them around the class. Use mindfulness activities. Deep breathing, visualization, they all help. What else? They can also create their own encouragement boards or maybe journals. We have journals where they write how they feel. And it also helps them not only to write the things that they're worried about, but also to stay motivated and positive. And of course, you can also use this positive reinforcement of giving, I don't know, stickers, small rewards, maybe not for middle class, but for other students, it works. The last one would be helping students manage distractions. Very difficult nowadays because they have lots of, senses that you, Daniela, were talking. I mean, we are like bombarded with lots of information input from all of them. So it helps a lot to use fidget toys or these stress balls to help them stay focused during the class. Sounds like something silly, but it's not. Like it helps them a lot to keep focused. And another thing that I really like is the distraction jar. So what they do is like they have like a jar every 4 tables when they're sitting together, and they write distracting thoughts or things that they're worried about, and then they have to put them away for later. So later they can go to the jar and go to that, and okay, I finished this, so I can continue with what I was doing. Very well. This is just some ideas that you can have to work with your middle school students, also in primary with the older students, and I'm sure that you can come up with more of this. That was all.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
You should go on. Okay, thank you. Now, let me tell you that we are at that point where the activities are especially targeted at teachers. I would like to bring to your attention a book written by an American writer and blogger. She's called Gretchen Rubin, and I have it here. This is the book. It's something that I have been reading and rereading for the past 2 months or so. And it is full of sound advice for teachers, for people, generally speaking, but also especially for teachers at some point, how to cope with this environment that is filled with noises and distractions and all the worries that we have as teachers. Okay, we are happy teachers, but still we have to cope with the world around us. I have selected five of my top 5 activities, really. The first one is the Five Senses Journal, which means that at the end of a day, you jot down your most memorable sensations, but you put them into the 5 categories: sound, smell, touch, taste, and yeah, the fifth one. I go on with the Five Senses portrait. Portrait of not of yourself, but of somebody close to you at a certain this is important, at a certain moment in time. Because when you appreciate that person's physical presence in a new way, you write it down, you make the portrait, you notice the outer person, but you also get insight into the inner person. Okay, the next one is the sensorium gift, which is a favorite of mine. They are not in any particular order. This means that you prepare presents that please the 5 senses of the person receiving the present. And my own classical sensorium gift is like this: a set of beautiful colored pencils, a tiny music box that plays a song, a small scented candle, a sampler of spices, and a soft blanket. So all of the 5 senses together in a sensorium gift. for the people who are important to me. I have been doing it I have done it 5 times so far. The next one is something very, very interesting. Well, when I read about it first, I found it very interesting. It's called Add a Bit of Ugly activity. Okay, the author started by reminding us something quite interesting. Back in 2012, so 11 years ago, in Australia. Okay. In order to make mandatory cigarette packaging as unappealing as possible, researchers in Australia have identified the most visually repellent, displeasing color. They gave it a name. It's Pantone 448C. Okay. And it's a sort of a greenish brown. It's the color of baby poop, really. Yet, so this is the most displeasing color that can ever be. Yet it appears no more, no less than in Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa, the most famous painting in the world. Mona Lisa's dress and shawl are in Pantone 448C. And this is something that blew my mind. And okay, this is true. And I know for sure now, the beautiful often requires a bit of ugly. And the last one is the album of now, where one should collect photos of one's ordinary life. For instance, take a photo of the contents of your fridge, because I bet 15 years ago your fridge held a very different set of items. And also 5 years from now, 7 years from now, your fridge will hold a very different set of items. Okay, don't forget that one day now will be a long time ago or ago. I want to tell you more about the activities that she has in her book. Try to find the book and read it. Connected to the sense of sight, she advises us to indulge in a splurge of color. For instance, wear a bright, fun color, or buy a set of colored pencils and use them, buy them for yourself, or paint your nails in an unusual color. I wrote also about collecting a color, which you can do by, for instance, creating shelves of books that have the same color on their spines. Okay, about
Daniela?
yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. Our time is almost finished, so I kindly ask
Okay.
if you can try to wrap up maybe on the last activities, keeping in
Yes.
mind that participants will have the slides available, so they will be able to explore all the materials also after the
Okay.
webinar.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
all the sites are here. I just gave you a few examples of the sense of sight. Sound and smell and taste and touch will follow. Okay, some more quotations. And the last activities that that are very dear to me are connected to Europeana. Europeana is a digital platform, and it is for European cultural heritage, and it provides free online access to millions of digitized items drawn from Europe's museums, libraries, archives, galleries all across Europe. There is this blog called Teaching with Europeana. It aims at encouraging teachers to use these Europeana items in their lessons. Teachers can discover, you can discover here all sorts of learning scenarios that use Europeana items, but you can also share your own experience. You can get, and then you can get feedback about your learning material. We've been building this growing community for the past 6 years. I have here a list, and you will have the slide, of the most suitable lessons connected to the 5 senses, especially. I'm working on a collection right now. And I wanted to tell you about the Happier app. Okay, remember that happy teachers teach happy students. Uh, there is an app. uh, it's got, I have it on my phone and I've been using it almost every day for the past couple of months. It's got habit jump starts, challenges, helpful happiness tips and tricks, and even hacks. The link is here. I get to spin a wheel for a quick happiness boost every day. There is a part where there are thought-provoking quotations, because I like quotations and the meaning behind them. Uh, you are bound to find among the tools the one tool that works for you, or the tools that work for you. This is the last slide of my presentation. I wanted to finish with a splendid quotation: "Just living is not enough. One must have sunshine, freedom, and a little flower." It was the Danish writer Hans Christian Andersen who wrote this. I'm sure you can see the connection, the sunshine, flower, okay, all sorts of senses, but also the freedom is important, because freedom is associated with personal autonomy and the ability to make choices. And for instance, we make choices when we choose what to taste, when we choose what in our diet, for instance. And also we make choices, uh, and we need to have freedom of speech, so we need to listen, to hear. This is a very deep quotation, and I'm sure that while reading it, you can come up with your own interpretation. The meaning is very, very deep. Thank you very much for listening to me. This is something that is very dear to me. The five senses activities have proved helpful for me in many occasions during my classes, and I hope you found the activities useful while revising them and maybe spending some time on some of them. Maybe you can find something suitable for your own context, for your own students, because it's only you that can know what you can use, what can be of use to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniela and Carol. This was a beautiful quote to conclude our journey into well-being. As you can see from the chat, there are a lot of very inspired comments. So we really thank you for having shared with us these activities, very practical activities that teachers can really include in their classrooms. And I remind you that all these materials will be available as of next week on the annual group, together with the recording. Unfortunately, there's no time for questions because our time is.
You can reach me, Alessia. They can reach me if they want to. I have
Exactly.
I have such a large presence. Yes.
Exactly. Thank you for your availability. I remind you to join the annual group to discover also the other materials. I thank again our speakers, and I wish you a lovely weekend. Thank you
Me too.
all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, Daniela. Bye, Caro.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.